All righty. Hello there. Welcome to Explore the Beyond. Yeah. Exciting times. New setup layout thingy. Well, different for today because I couldn't be bothered to do a new overlay for just today. That rhymes. So we're going to do it this way. We'll see if it works. We have two players today. We've got Burius and Josh. Who are each playing two characters. These are Burius' characters, and these are Josh's characters. Then we'll be doing a quick, well, I say quick, normal-sized one-shot today, where they will be playing members of the Navigators, kind of hirelings, we'll say. The Navigators from Scales of Destiny have two groups of hirelings that they've hired in the time between Season 1 and Season 2. We'll be playing one of those today. And that's, I think, all of the details that I remember. I'm sure there's more, but that's okay. We'll bring in the team and we'll get going, I think. That's probably the best way.
Up to 15 feet if they fail a strength saving throw, or it can't take a reaction until the end of my next go.
Okay.
That's
Not reaction.
That sounds interesting.
It does.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
What's up?
So, yes, Tweenie, this is the support crew. So, hey guys,
Hello.
Hello.
let's play D&D.
Yay.
As you've already been informed, there are no recaps to do today, so we'll just dive straight in with the four characters, both two each, being summoned along with their kind of newer companion who is still a bit kind of untested to you, tagging along, hoping to make a name for herself also. So there are 5 of your group in the Great Hall of the Compass Adventurers Guild, recently erected and also recently occupied by the Navigators before their adventure off to the jungle and dealing with the Chaos Maker, Stappen. You are summoned, and before you stands a sort of half-giant Goliath wearing the undergarments that would normally go with some kind of heavy plate armor, you would assume. And his tattoos that he's got essentially engraved all over his face show that at least at some point in his life he was part of a herd that would go marauding through the countryside and anywhere where there were riches to be pillaged. However, he seems to be reformed, seems to have grown out his hair, even at least in some kind of sort of fairly unique way. And he towers over all of you. You would imagine bearing at least 6-7 feet tall, but broad, built very wide. And his chair that he's sat in currently, you can all kind of see has definitely been reinforced at some point. Not in the greatest condition. And
Just made this town.
yeah,
It's breaking the chairs already. Jeez.
breaking the chairs already. And think of it as a precursor to learning for Vic, you know? But as he's sort of staring and watching the 5 new people just kind of come sauntering in, you've all been off doing your own thing for a while. You were hired by the Navigators a few months ago, or at least approached to be kind of employed by the Navigators, but you've been allowed to roam and do your own thing. And this is the first time that you've been given a proper job to really sink your teeth into and actually earn some decent money. So there's definitely a new sense of something big could come from this. So we'll start with Beria, since your two characters are closer to this half-giant creature. Just give us a quick overview of what your two characters look like.
So we've got Arrayus, who is a female tiefling. She is a female tiefling warlock of the celestial, not domain, of just the pact of the celestial. And yeah, she's purple skinned, horns on the head like standard, very, very eager to earn money. Looks a bit dainty, but she's okay. She can handle herself. And then we've got Aurelio, who, if I don't watch previous ones, and I'm using him, using him again, but at a higher level. He is a Kalashtar cleric, and they are basically look like humans. You can't really tell too much. He's of the dark domain.
Twilight Domain.
What's it called again? Twilight Domain. I always forget what it is. A Twilight Domain cleric, and so he kind of he loves the darkness, the night, and he's eager to serve and do his bit.
Nice, thank you. And we'll then move backwards to Josh and your two characters.
Okay. Well, my first character, my blue fella, well, his picture is blue, is Tidril, and he is a half-orc monk who is just a ordinary citizen that was living his life until the dragon invaded and everything went to hell, and decided to pick up any tools he could find nearby him and join the cause to help out. With that, he only 5'11". He's 25, so he's matured, but he's still quite young. He's greyish blue skin, so that's Tidril, and across from him is Velsper, who he was a tiefling rogue who didn't like people in the beginning. Very stuck to himself and tried to keep out of people's way, which is why he became a thief, until he was rescued one day and decided that he would follow in his rescuer's footsteps and joined the group at the Compass, which is where he's been helping out since.
Oh, thank you. And behind that, sort of sat very diminutively on one of the stools, barely being able to see over the whole table because she's so small in overall size, is a sort of olivey skinned gnome with very contrasting almost bleach blonde hair, who is wearing kind of wrapped leather armor that just about looks like it could maybe stop a blunted axe or sword from, piercing through. She's got a look of kind of trepidation about her, and she's sort of, her eyes basically remain glued to the Goliath at the other end of the table, just trying to keep some kind of focus and not. She looks anxious, nervous. But when the Goliath starts talking, she just jumps to attention immediately. And he stands from this chair and stretches out and bulges his chest out, almost like he's sort of flexing in front of you all slightly, and pulls up to his full height definitely over 7 feet, maybe 7'3", potentially. Looks down at all of you sat at the table. Welcome. Welcome. You've been called for your first official mission for the Navigators, our employer. It's a simple mission, but still fraught with danger should you make any mistakes. All you are to do is to go deeper into the forest and collect us some resources. Is that understood?
Perfect.
What, like picking plants?
Picking plants, certainly. But also collecting something a little bit more rare for a potion to be crafted by an alchemist who is on his way to the town from Oldencliff.
Okay.
Some of these plants can be found in many places and should be easy enough. Others are in more dangerous situ, and that is why we have chosen you.
Reyes pulls out a notepad and said, okay, so can I have a shopping list, please, of what we need to collect, how many we need to collect, what we need to kill, do we need to take eyeballs, arms, what do we need?
There should be no need for collecting from creatures. However, there is at least one item on this list that we know is defended by a creature of some power. It is known as the Bearded Green, and it's something akin to a gem that grows only in certain conditions and is defended by a creature whose name I can't quite remember.
So the bearded green is the thing we need to collect.
It's one of the things you need to collect, yes. It is the main focus of this mission. The rest, the red amanita mushroom, a dream lily, willow shade fruit, and black cap mushrooms are all things you will find along your way.
You just see Vasper put his hand up. So, is this a time crunch? Do we have to get back before the alchemist, or is he happy to wait if we run into some complications?
These are things we would prefer you get back with swiftly, but there is no immediate hurry. The Navigators themselves will be back within a day or two, and are eventually looking to use some of these potions for their future mission, whatever that should be.
So I wrote down dream lily, black cat mushrooms, and obviously the bearded green thing.
Yes.
What else did you say?
Willow shade fruit and the red amanita mushroom.
Okay. Do you have pictures of these, or?
Dream lilies are like lilies in a lot of ways, except they emanate a certain powder that, when disturbed or extracted in certain ways, can be used in very interesting ways, so I am told. You will, if you are familiar with lilies, you will be able to recognize these Just make sure that you are cautious, as they can have adverse effects if misused. Willow shade fruits are grown from trees that are sparse but fairly recognizable. Willow shade fruit looks a lot like an apple, but is instead blue. And definitely don't eat any blue apples you may see, for your own good. The two different types of mushrooms are fairly self-explanatory. You'll find them where you would find normal mushrooms. Red amanita are usually red dots on a black surface, and the black caps are generally white mushrooms with black tips, and they have quite conical shape to them. The bearded green is a gem-like substance, like I've already said, that grows only in certain environments. You will find them often in nests that are made by certain creatures that will unknowingly propagate them, grow them, and then be very sort of compelled by this thing to be protective of it. Make sure that when you collect it, you do not touch it with your skin, as you will then begin to fall under the effects of it too, and will thus be unwilling to give it over to us. If that is to happen, we will of course make every attempt to bring you out of this effect. We are not monsters, we only wish for your well-being, of course. So, but nonetheless, caution is always advised.
And if we do this and we do it well, I mean, can we get like more work?
I am certain that there will be more work and yet more money and riches that can come your way should this be a success. Your success is mostly based on whether you are able to retrieve the bearded green. The rest will come with bonuses. Is that understood?
Yes.
You are required to collect as much of the other materials as you can. The bearded green, however, you will probably most likely only be able to find one of, but that will be enough for our purposes. Wonderful.
The more we get, the more money. The more we bring back, the more money we get. Or
Essentially, yes.
Okay. And if we do really well, is there any chance we can join the Navigators?
Unlikely, as the Navigators are a fairly tight-knit group that has grown through time and experience to work well together. However, they are always looking for help, and there are jobs that they are potentially too powerful for or too busy for that you would fit quite well into. And they are very good to their friends.
As long as we're helping save the world, I'm in.
This will certainly help them in their quest to defeat Asoa the Eternal Flame, who, as I'm sure you know, recently returned.
Yes, I don't want to fight any dragons.
You are lucky in this, then, that the likelihood of you coming across a dragon is slim. However, at the moment it's very difficult to say that for certainty. I'm sure you understand there is a certain element of risk within this job that we can't guarantee your survival, although we do pray for it. And we do wish you a happy return.
So do we get a night and day of drinking beforehand, or do we just go now?
It's up to you entirely when you wish to leave. We would prefer you go with haste, but if you wish to prepare for a day, then you have that option too. Yes.
Guess the sooner we go, the more we can get, the more money we get.
You see Taildrill stand up, and in a calm voice, I always travel light, and he just walks past. The dwarf walks out. He's ready. He's gone.
Okay.
I think I know who might end up dying first then, as I related that. And then I'll leave as well, if you want us to.
All right. The gnome companion also follows suit. Somewhat begrudgingly, you think. She does look a bit uncertain, but, follows along willingly. As you enter out into the sort of this unseasonably warm day that is currently kind of belting down on the little town of Compass, you can see all sorts of people going about their daily life. The few sort of dwarven refugees that have been saved and have made their way here are working incredibly hard to help build new houses and sort of set up the infrastructure to keep this new town going, as well as help it progress and continue to grow. There's also quite a lot of diversity in species going on here. You've got your humans and you've got your sort of half elves and a lot of dwarves because they've been displaced from Kirdaral especially, but also Karisgard in general. But there's also a few sort of goblins that seem to have kind of taken up residence here, and you yourselves haven't spent much time here, using it more of a base of operations, but to go off on your little adventures. But something that started happening quite quickly was a lot of the kind of more not adventure-y, the more adventurous, that's right, goblins that didn't really settle down into clans did start to find their way here, because you've heard stories of the Navigators' early days where they kind of started a mini civil war between the greenskins and the cleanskins. But that story has kind of evolved, you've heard, from them starting a war into them kind of being heroes that eventually brought the goblins into a kind of unified state. And now these sort of, not all goblins obviously, but this sort of sect of goblins that may only number in the sort of maybe 50 in total in the whole town are borderline worshipping the Navigators right now, and they're kind of just waiting for their chance to see them in person. Even if they don't get to interact, they just kind of want to see them and know they're real. And there's a few more kind of varied races as well. There are a few more half-orcs that you've seen kind of dotted about. They're not that rare, to be honest, but to see this many out in the open and kind of sort of proudly showing their orcish lineage as well as their whatever other half they happen to be is unusual. There's also a fair few tieflings. You know, in the other group of hirelings that the Navigators have hired, there's also a tiefling in there who is a sort of the typical kind of charming tiefling. He always knows the right words to say, and he's very popular with basically everybody. And that seems to have encouraged sort of the more civilian type of tiefling to come out and sort of be a bit more open and happy with their lot in life. They seem to really like it here because they just don't get judged in the same way they do in other places. Gnomes, for example, are sort of showing their faces a lot more. And even a few halflings have kind of ventured in without really prompting, which is a bit unusual. They keep themselves to themselves in their little towns and hovels and villages. So there is a very diverse kind of group that have assembled in this small town, even though it's only less than a year old, really. And all of them seem to be working together to... they seem to be working together to kind of continue to grow and build upon whatever foundation the Navigators have set down. You have free reign of the town for now. If you wish to go straight off into the mission, deeper into the forest basically takes you westwards towards the mountains. This forest isn't the biggest in the world, but you know, it's still fairly vast. So the forest sort of west of Aldencliff is where we are. Basically, you've got all the way west. You're not far in at the moment. So you've got a lot of west, you've got a bit of south, and then basically anywhere. So for reference, you can't see my mouse cursor on there. Great. But basically a lot west and then a bit south.
Okay, so it's just this local forest next to Aldencliff where we are that we are going through, yeah?
Yes. All of the resources that you need are known to be held within here. Because this would be where the alchemists and such would send from Aldencliff anyway, so you're basically just skipping a step by already being in the forest.
Perfect.
I picked the right place to build the town.
Yeah, you did.
Magic. I guess we wanted to get going. Everyone's okay, right? Everyone's rested?
Yeah. You would see T-Drill go out and then look completely lost as he doesn't know the way to the forest because he's never left, really.
Okay.
Okay, I'll go behind him and be like, be not surprised, and I'll touch you on the shoulder and give you vigilant blessing.
Ooh.
Which I can do as many times as I want.
Nice. New character stuff. Ooh.
So you'll no longer... Well, you get advantage on initiative, basically.
He feels it go over him and turns to you. Whatever that was, it felt great. Still don't know where the forest is, though.
I mean, you're literally in the forest. It's all around you.
That's how lost he is.
We're going this way, west. And I'll point west.
Okay.
Also, so Arias, she is proficient in nature, so I'm guessing she might know all the plants anyway, maybe, or that.
Yeah, she's more likely to kind of, even if she doesn't know them, she would be able to recognize them from the description and kind of deduce what she needs to see and find.
Okay. So she'll be looking out for that more than anything that might be trying to kill us.
Okay.
Aurelio would be looking out for anything that's trying to kill us.
Perfect. Okie dokie. So it doesn't take long after kind of turning west and walking out of the town to essentially be in the middle of nowhere in just complete wilderness. The trees, while not necessarily overgrown and large, like overbearingly large, are still fairly daunting. And there's always that air about a sort of somewhat untamed forest that sort of shows you that anything can happen in the wild, you know. There's always some danger that could be lurking behind a tree, for example. About an hour after leaving the town, the sun starts getting a little bit more blocked out by the trees, and there's a definite shift in ground texture. It goes from being quite hard and dried out to a lot more damp, and the ground is moist. There's mosses, there's a lot more. Everything's just kind of got that sheen of wet to it. I need everyone to roll perception checks for me, please. Nice. We know who to look for perception. Okay. Velspir and Tedril, you are the ones that are the most vigilant. You are in unfamiliar environments for sure, and that kind of puts you on edge slightly, which means your eyes are sharper to everything. And there's definitely, while there's nothing immediately dangerous right now, you are keeping yourself more alert to any potential danger. Arias, it doesn't take long for you to start noticing some of the mushrooms. Now that you're in more damp environments, some of the mushrooms are definitely more prominent. You haven't seen any of the two that you need yet, but now that they're sort of poking up and becoming quite abundant, it's you are sort of seeing that it's clearly time to start paying attention to these things.
Mm-hmm.
We will move here. You come to a sort of small stream that is running from basically from the right to left. Best way to describe it. And suddenly the sun starts sort of shining down on you, and it's obvious why, because a tree has been a hefty tree that looks to Arias's eyes still quite young is the wrong word, but it looks fresh, and it looks like it could have still lasted hundreds of years. It's maybe actually roll a nature check for me.
Which one is it? It's her.
It's her. Cool, nice. This tree looks like it could be upwards of 100 years old already. It could have a good century in it, but looks like it could have lasted for centuries more. This is a strong tree that, upon closer inspection, looks like it has been hefted down with some force. And
Not natural causes like lightning, though.
yeah, not naturally. This isn't the kind of tree fall you would expect to see in a forest. Just natural kind of comes down with age or a natural disaster. This has been brought down deliberately for a reason.
So is it like axe cuts as well, or
It looks too unclean to be like an axe. The way the bark and the wood has kind of been left, it's very jagged and shredded. And even the best tree choppers, the best lumberjacks, leave kind of jagged marks where the axe lands. This just seems to have been the pattern looks too random to have been done by a kind of sentient creature deliberately.
I'll let everyone else know that it must have been something quite big and strong to have done that.
Who's proficient with Arcana, if anyone?
Yeah,
Not
somehow
me.
I got back to Aqua. So why am I back on his sheet? Nah, I'm not.
Okay. Yeah, none of you have really got an idea why or how this could happen, or what could have done it. You are just you can just tell that this wasn't done. This was done in a I don't know how to describe it. This wasn't done like by nature, but it wasn't done for tree clearing purposes.
Okay.
You think it was used as a bridge? Is that river too deep to walk through?
The stream, it's not necessarily too deep to walk through. It just looks uneven. It looks like it would be perilous to walk through just because it's stony, uneven, it's quite slimy.
Okay.
I guess someone's made a bridge for us then, or something.
I mean, it's better than getting our feet wet. We might as well use it.
Maybe show us how it's done.
Okay. Tidril just goes. Vesper's gone here to watch.
Okay. The tree's a bit slippy. The spray from the stream has kind of hit it in a few places, but in general, no, it's pretty okay to cross, it would appear.
He gets to the other side then, and it's all clear, guys. Just watch his footing.
Okay, well, I will also go then.
Okay. As you go across, your gnome companion also starts to cross with you.
Vesper just looks at her as she's scuttled past. God, that gnome's quick.
She is unusually sure-footed.
Got past me even before I got on the tree.
Okay.
Well,
And then as you get across and sort of come out of the clearing, or come out from the river, you can see there's a small clearing of no trees, just very short grown grass and a few bushes towards the tree line that looks a bit conspicuous with the way it's sort of laid out. It looks like there would be something here normally.
So it doesn't look like a natural clearing.
It doesn't look natural. Just in the way it's formed and the kind of sort of circular nature of it, the fact that up until now you've been a fairly well grown out forest, this rings false.
Something's made this.
Well, she'll. Let's not rush just yet, because we don't know what's in this forest.
Yeah, I'm still keeping an eye out for any of the plants that are on my list.
Mm-hmm.
I am actually gonna try to throw as Tildril. He is gonna throw his hammer and try and at least make it land like 50 feet in front of him.
Okay, roll an athletics check for me.
Athletics.
Nice. You managed to throw it exactly where you want it,
Nice.
and it just kind of flies through the air and then lands sort of harmlessly in the middle of the clearing.
Okay.
Well, nothing jumped out to attack it, so
Maybe hammers aren't its prey.
yeah. I was hoping it would startle or something.
Okay, well, let's move on, I guess.
Right. Yeah, I'll go pick up my hammer. I need that.
Okay. Are you just walking out openly?
Tildra is Vespar's like staying under the trees, trying to keep out of any of the opening, basically.
Okay. Tell Drill, make a perception check for me, please. Blimey. 18. Something in the air just feels off, but you can't quite place it. It's like that unsettling feeling when it was kind of pointed out to you that, or you kind of realized that this clearing feels off. That feeling was sort of bubbling. But now that you've stepped out and you're kind of in the full ray of light from the sun, and you've got a bit of a gap between you and your allies and the tree line, there's a definite sense of sort of natural unease in your chest that just isn't subsiding.
Yeah, before taking another step here, turn to the group. Guys, I'm still going to go for my hammer, but keep an eye on me. I got this sense that something's not right. Takes a couple more steps forward.
Okay. Now, the other three, Aurelio, Velspear, and Tedro. No, Arias. Roll perception checks for me too, please.
My good perception one. Oh, both bad.
Oh dear. Velspear, you see almost miss it, but you can see Tedril kind of glow a little bit, almost like the light of the sun is refracting slightly off him as the kind of light bounces off and comes back, and there's a sort of colourful shimmer coming off his body. And it's not sort of just left to his skin as well, it's clothing and armour as well, and his boots and his hair. And any kind of weapon and accessory he may have just starts to kind of let off a light.
Guys, do you see that? He's glowing.
When it
Quite bright though.
when it gets pointed out, the two of you do start to kind of maybe see something, but the sun's a bit bright, you know, it's difficult to see.
I'll move up a little bit, but not too far.
Okay.
Yeah, Velspel's gonna like stay under the tree line with her short bow out ready, just in case.
Okay.
Which way are we heading towards? Like over this kind of way?
You would be heading sort of in this sort of top right corner. Basically in any direction from like there, inside that box, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So sort of top right, top in sort of directions. I don't think that really worked as well as I was thinking. But...
So, okay. Has he got his hammer? He got your hammer yet?
Just half.
When you go to pick up your hammer, it's only a sort of light, simple, quick hammer, and yet it feels so heavy. Just feels almost too heavy to pick up.
Okay. Am I struggling to literally lift this hammer that I just lobbed 50 feet?
Mm-hmm.
In that
And
case, then hit.
And it's not that
God.
you feel weaker. You know, you don't suddenly feel like weaker in body. It's just this hammer suddenly feels like it weighs the earth.
I'm gonna check around to see if it got entangled in something in the grass, or if it's like got stuck in the mud and I'm pulling it wrong. Anything I can think of to see if something's holding it in its place.
Okay, roll an investigation check for me.
That's about right.
No? Can't tell. This seems all of a sudden to be completely immovable.
Aurelia's going to move up and be like, come on, pick it up, let's go.
Aurelia, as you get closer, you start feeling that kind of feeling of just unsettling nerves in your chest. And the two remaining outside of this clearing, sort of keeping under the trees, you see Aurelio start to shimmer in the same way as Tedril. Although, Aurelio, as you say, you know, come on, let's go, everything around you, everything slows right down. You're speaking normally, but you feel like you hear and feel the breeze that you've just been feeling normally is like maybe a quarter of the speed that it was before, just kind of brushing over your face and through your hair. The tree leaves around you slow right down, and you can literally see every sort of swaying movement in the breeze that is also slowed down. All of your friends, your companions that were sort of looking around warily but also kind of intrigued, are now just, barely moving. Even the river, the stream behind you that was flowing at a decent rate, is now barely a trickle in terms of speed.
I'm gonna keep pushing through as far as I can.
Okay. As you keep pushing through, everyone else, you see Aurelio just fly. Essentially, like he is just sprinting through at speeds where he's just a blur, essentially. And if he stops for a moment, you can just about maybe see the outline of his body again, and then he starts to move.
Ras is going to be confused and not sure what to do. He's like, you look weird, Aurelio. I don't know. You okay?
Aurelio hears Aurea speak, but it's so slow. Like, almost like she's taking the mick a little bit with how long she's drawing out her words.
And when I speak back, is it really fast?
It is just a blur of sound.
What about if I speak to T-Drill? Is it the...
Same.
Vesper goes up to, or what's her name? How do I say it?
Aras.
Arrayus, and says that so far walking under the trees has had no effect on me, so let's stick under the tree line and not go in the middle. Let's walk around and hopefully we can maybe use rope to pull them out the other side.
Okay, you go first, I'll follow behind.
Okay. Alright. Stay as close under these trees as we can get. Kind of walk our way around.
And I suggest, what's the name of the gnome?
If you're asking, her name is Lyra.
Lyra. I should have asked before we left, but maybe Lyra, follow.
She kind of nervously nods and just sort of starts following you around under the tree canopy.
Have we noticed anything around by the trees?
Not really. Everything under the tree canopy seems normal. It's just... the deduction would be that as soon as you leave any of the shadow of the tree line for a prolonged period, some kind of effect seems to take place.
Okay. I guess seeing her creep over this side, it still seems to be moving. Are they moving slowly as well? They are, aren't they?
Aurelio sees his friends kind of go around the tree line, and it's like super slow motion.
Okay. I'm going to try to go towards them just to catch up because they looking puzzled at us, or at me at least.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to keep going.
Okay.
till I get to
Basically,
the same-
once you get kind of... this isn't quite right, but bear with me. Nope, wrong thing. Kind of out of this circle, it seems, at least to Aurelio, roughly, your friends suddenly start walking normally. It's so jarring because you've gone from seeing them moving really slowly to suddenly just walking normally, and the kind of disconnect in speeds completely throws you, and you end up kind of just instinctively recoiling and almost falling to the floor from how you've gone from seemingly walking normally and then being really slow. Nothing's changed for you, but suddenly they just seem to have sped up at you. It's a surreal experience to experience.
Some weird magic going on there.
As the group of that T-Drill was, he gave up on trying to lift the hammer and instead trying to drag the hammer to the group.
Okay,
And drag it along the ground.
make a strength check for me. With far too much effort for what this is, you kind of have to put both hands on the handle of your hammer and dig your feet in, and you are making sort of 5 feet per round, essentially. This takes you minutes to do, and it's, every fiber of strength in your entire being. But eventually, you manage to make it to out here. And then one more step, and as you step out of this sort of imaginary circle, suddenly the hammer is light again. And you fling yourself. Lyra ends up needing to move out of the way. And you fling yourself. Luckily, her height gives her a bit of help in this, because you just fly backwards, do sort of a backflip over her. The hammer still in your hands, kind of flings over, and you sort of land awkwardly on your head, neck, and upper back. Lyra's kind of nursing a foot to the face from being sort of accidentally kicked on your way over.
I guess we avoid these kind of open spaces going forward. But what would have left this here? What would have done this?
I don't like it, whatever it was.
No.
Is anyone proficient in history?
Dun, dun, dun. Nope.
Nope.
Okay.
No arcana, no history.
Nope. That's fine. That's fine.
Shrugs.
You've got your niche and you're sticking to it.
Shrugs. Oh. I guess this way then.
Almost immediately, you're just kind of flung back into that very dark, moist, sort of foresty feel. Areas immediately starts seeing the red amanita mushrooms and the black cat mushrooms spread out. They're not close together, but you're finding sort of small clusters of them that you can kind of put into a haversack, and sort of knowing enough about these kinds of things, she makes sure to keep them separate but also not let them touch her skin. So wearing gloves, being careful not to accidentally brush herself with them. And you're off to a good start. You've already got sort of a few kilos of each, which you could imagine would be useful for some kind of potion. The Dream Lily and Willowshade fruits are a bit more difficult because the fruits are grown on trees. So you would have to sort of find what would be the equivalent of an apple tree. Or would look something like an apple tree that grows apple-type fruits. And then the Dream Lilies are generally grown in glades. Something I forgot to mention earlier, I apologise.
Okay, well, I'll keep an eye out for the rest of them. Would that probably be enough of the mushrooms, I would think? I mean, I'll happily look for more, but I'll focus more on the other two.
If Arius wants to roll nature for me, then... Nice. The red amanita mushrooms tend to be used for healing potions. It's the sort of primary ingredients. Why it's the reason healing potions are often red, because it's sort of one of its sort of main features is as a kind of liquid dye. So you can almost never have enough of those.
Yeah. Well, I'll just gather. Okay, I'll keep gathering as many as I can, but leaving space that I can carry enough of the other stuff when it comes to it.
Okay. That's absolutely fine.
And I guess we kind of move on.
Move further in, I guess. Yeah.
Can't strictly move any further. But
No, I know.
yeah.
As you continue on, you're about 3 hours into your first day of journeying at the moment, and off to a decent start. You know, you've got a fair chunk of these things, or the first 2 things anyway. And again, we're going to use the same sort of map, or the same map, but a few more hours pass, and you find yourself again in a similar sort of glade where a tree sort of felled by unnatural, not intentional means, and then beyond it a sort of open glade.
It looks different though. Like it's
It
not
looks
the exact.
it looks different, but it's not the same place, but it's similar enough that you kind of have to stop and think, have we been going around in circles? But there are distinctive differences. You know, the trees are slightly different placements. The stream here is actually less prominent. It's more just a felled tree in the middle of a forest at this point, and then a trickle of water.
Okay. Guess we look similar to where we've been before, but there's a big clearing ahead, so I guess we avoid the large opening this time.
Yeah, it seems Tidro and you had some weird, I guess, magical effects just happen to you when you went into the direct sunlight.
It
So
seemed like you guys were very slow.
we were going at normal pace. Maybe we should all just stick to the shadows. Stick under the trees, make sure we don't go into the middle.
Yeah. I think we were waiting for the others to go over first and then follow.
Is the tree strong enough to hold us?
You don't really even need the tree this time.
Oh, okay.
The stream is literally just a trickle of water. It's almost just like the tree has just kind of conveniently been felled over it, if that makes sense.
Just like a very odd coincidence.
Mm-hmm. And this time, sticking to the shadows seems to bring on that, well, at least being in the shadows to begin with brings on that sort of sense of dread that almost immediately left you as you left this sort of the sunlight last time. Now you feel it building as you're sitting in the shadow, or staying in the shadow, just sort of trying to avoid the light. You haven't noticed any effects hit you yet, but there's still that kind of niggling doubt in the back of your head. Everyone make
Okay.
perception checks for me. I'm glad one person's good at perception. Velspear, there is in the sort of surrounding area just it's just a sort of sound that echoes around you, almost like it's just circling. And you have to really focus to like kind of even work out what that sound is. And eventually you just hear a very disturbing cackling laugh.
Yeah, I like panic look around the group. Was that any of you?
What? I didn't.
Nah, you gotta be joking. There's just this weird laugh that just happened now.
Not that I heard.
Alright. Whatever's happening here and us going deeper in, we need to be cautious. I have a bad feeling about this for some reason.
Okay, let's take it careful then.
We're
Look
not
for
going
the
to slow
shadows.
right down, but we're not going to be going full speed.
Okay.
Which direction would it be, Ra? Just so we don't have to...
This time you're just going straight up.
Okay. Then in that case, we'll go around. Stick to the shadows around this way.
Okay.
I was not meant to do that because I'm selecting the five at the same time.
Yeah, that's what mine are just... They're like on top of each other. Just imagine that. Or don't.
All right. Lyra's following behind you, trying to sort of stick somewhat to the... Well, close by. As much as her little gnome legs would let her. And you get round. This time, no adverse effect. However, you just still feel uneasy. Velspear, there's just this horrible feeling. Still with your 21 perception, you just feel like someone's watching you.
Yeah. I'm wary, but I'm here for the mission.
Okay.
It's what's important at the moment, so...
Cool. More time passes, and the sort of forest of again sort of covers over, and you go back to this kind of moist and damp just environment. You can smell it. It's like that definitely kind of smell, you know. And you just hear and you can see all of the sort of usual wildlife and vegetation that you would expect to see in a fairly untamed wild forest. Creatures that are curiously looking at you because they've never seen such a thing before. Others that care less about that and are just running away. And just the telltale signs of a, almost completely undisturbed forest. That you just kind of, especially Lyra, you can see she's been very reserved. She hasn't spoken this whole time. You've been out for most of the day. She hasn't said a word. She's just been kind of quietly following you. Just timid, awkward. She doesn't really look like she's ready for an encounter. Just sort of the way she's barely even armored, and even the armor isn't covering much. It's just wrapped around like the top of her body, like just scraps of leather wrapped around, and then wrapped around her legs and lower body. It just doesn't look very effective. And she's been sort of struggling to keep up with you when you've been on form, but doesn't make any complaints. She seems to be struggling now that it's getting even more overgrown, and she's kind of having to really be careful pulling herself through the underbrush because she is only like 3 feet tall. A lot of this underbrush is actually taller than her. But still she continues. Eventually, finding a few more of the red amanita mushrooms and a few more of the black cat mushrooms. Eventually, it gets to sort of start going dark. You all feel yourselves getting a bit fatigued, a bit tired. It's the end of your sort of travelling day. And sort of time to start thinking about settling up for rest. We'll represent that by pressing this button. Darkness. Dun dun dun.
Are we like in a clearing that seems normal, or?
You're not in a clearing. You're just in a kind of a sort of not so overgrown space in the forest. It's just I have no maps for that, unfortunately. So at the moment you're kind of in an area that is cleared out enough that you can all find a space on the floor and potentially make a fire if you need one and still be somewhat comfy.
Say we're like that.
Yeah.
Well, this Vespar has asked Tidril for his rope, and she is going to make, if I can show it off, a kind of, how do I make it so it...
Control click. There you go.
Oh, there. So that was 20. So yeah, she's going to use the 2 bits of rope to make an 80-foot barricade around them, tied with her little bell that she has.
Okay.
Around like any trees or things to kind of make like a tripwire just in case anyone gets too close to us, the bell will ring.
Okay, nice. Very wise. Lyra kind of gets started on a fire and clears a space so that you at least have something to help cook food on and maybe keep you warm if it gets too cold in the evening, but chances of that are a bit slim. It's quite a dense and humid forest. Still hasn't said a word. She's really sort of inside herself and barely makes eye contact with any of you.
You ready for this, Lyra?
She kind of looks up at you as you ask the question, more on hearing her name than the question itself, and sort of makes very quick eye contact with you and looks back down to the floor and just nods.
Seem uneasy.
Nods again. Doesn't even look at you this time, just nods.
Well, as long as you can fight, you don't have to talk, I guess.
You can see she takes a really deep breath and holds it before releasing, and then in something that's barely more than a whisper, like just about audible, she just sort of, I can fight if I have to.
Okay. But we all need to earn our share.
Nods again.
I guess we better get some food in us and then get some sleep.
Yeah. I will happily take first watch if you guys want to.
Who has said that?
Sorry, yeah, Val's. She's just got back from finishing off the rope barricade, so
Okay.
Okay.
kind of is proud of what she's done and wants to make sure it stays up for the first bit.
Lyra, staying where she is, doesn't move, but sort of looks very nervously over at Aurelio. And again, barely more than a whisper. I'll go second.
Okay. Well, Elspeth, wake up who you want, but Lyra's offered.
T-Drill goes, I'm used to early mornings, so I'll take the last watch.
Need one more in between it, don't we?
Yes.
Aurelia will be in there somewhere.
Okay. All right then. Valspir, as you sort of settle in for your first watch of the night, and everyone else settles down in their sleeping spot, make a perception check for me, please. Blimey. You still have that really uneasy feeling that somebody or something is watching you. It just gnaws away at you constantly. You look around but can't see anybody or anything. But you just kind of... There's just this feeling. And it's kind of been since you heard the cackling laugh earlier, where it just feels like there's somebody or something. Always.
Mm. Yeah, apart from just being her curious, worried self well, she's not as worried as she normally would be because she's with a group she actually trusts, even though they are still very new. But she's happy she's just not on her own for a night. She continues just to watch out, and if nothing happens, then goes to wake up Lara.
Okay. Lyra wakes up on a dime. How are you waking her up?
I would have just gently rocked her, hand on shoulder, give her a gentle rock. So telling her it's her turn.
Okay. As you sort of reach out to her shoulder and just give her a gentle, the gentle rock that you say, you feel her body immediately tense up. As soon as your hand makes contact with her shoulders, just tenses, and her eyes shoot open and she just rolls away from you. And then, seeing that it's you, her body sort of doesn't loosen so much, but you can see some of the tension sort of release slightly. And she just sort of takes a deep breath, calms herself, and nods solemnly before sort of taking a seat back in her sleeping spot and just starting to look around.
Yeah. Vespa will just go back to her spot and go sleep.
Okay. While you're all asleep, Lyra keeps watch. You don't hear any noise, you don't hear any disturbance. There isn't anything untoward necessarily happening while she's asleep. And then eventually who was it you said was going to watch next? Aurelia?
Yeah.
Okay. A little while later, Aurelia, you feel like a sort of gentle tap on your shoulder. And then another sort of slightly more forceful tap on the shoulder. And then,
Okay, I'll wake.
yeah, I was going to say the next another tap, similar tap, but then accompanied by a very soft wake up.
Yeah, I'm up.
Okay. As soon as you are visibly awake, Lyra kind of turns and is like, "It's your turn," and just climbs back into bed. And you assume falls straight back to sleep.
Right. I will put my armor back on and give myself the vigilant blessing.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess if I was to use something now that refreshes on the long rest, will I get it back at the end because it's like halfway through my long rest?
Yes, kind of, essentially.
Okay. I'll just give myself Eyes of the Night just to give myself 300 foot of dark vision.
Naturally.
It's just 3 willing creatures, but no one is awake to be willing, so I guess it'll just be me.
Yeah, it lasts for an hour, so you've got half of your watch with the extra distance.
Yeah, so I figured it's going to come back anyway, so I might as well use it.
Okay. With the sort of campfire starting to die down slightly, your Eyes of the Night watch it, sort of allowing you to see further. Make a perception check with advantage for me.
2 perception checks have been very bad so far.
Yeah, that's better. With your 21, you are acutely aware of basically anything that moves in your general vicinity for the first hour of your watch. The extra distance really does help with kind of helping you discern movement and shadows and all sorts. And while nothing necessarily threatening occurs, it does help maybe ease your mind slightly that you would potentially see anything that was going to jump out at you in enough time to have a bit of time to react. The second hour is a bit more disconcerting purely because you've lost that extra distance. It's a bit more, you feel a bit more exposed. But aside from the sounds of woodland creatures sort of sounding a lot more threatening and dangerous in the pitch black, or essentially pitch black, nothing major happens.
Okay. I will wake up Tedrill.
Okay.
It was Tedrill, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's close enough. Even I can't say it.
Hedrill, Tedrill. You'll go.
Yeah, it's not hard for Tedrill to get woken up once he's been prodded or poked or shook or however he was woken up.
Okay. As you're woken up and it's time for your watch, Aurelio settles back down to continue and finish his long rest. And you are left with sort of the dying fire embers and a very dark, foreboding forest around you.
How low is that fire? Like, is it going to go out within the hour or?
You could probably salvage it.
I was going to say, might as well throw a torch on it.
No, you don't need to throw a torch on it. You can poke it, add a bit more wood, sort of maybe add some kindling again to get it relit properly. You wouldn't need a torch.
Could do that then.
Okay. As Tedrill is rekindling the fire, both he and Velspir, and probably Aurelio, both hear a tiny little tingly dingle sound from a bell.
He would be standing as soon as that bell goes off, trying to pinpoint which direction that noise. That would. Yeah, he'd pinpoint where the bell's coming from. He's not the smartest.
Well, I mean, there was only one bell.
Yeah, I know, but
so
he's still not the smartest.
His attention is drawn immediately sort of to this side of the group. Would be sort of in here somewhere.
I'd stir as well if I heard it.
Mm-hmm.
Grab my weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Also just realised that I have 300-foot dark vision at all times,
anyway,
so I can share it.
Yeah, I kind of realised that. I was like, wait a minute, isn't the idea that you just give it to other people?
Yeah.
That's fine.
He's gonna go over to the bow just to see if the rope's still up and if anything's knocked it in their sleep or.
The first thing you immediately see is that the bell has fallen directly to the floor and landed facing the same way. So like the opening bottom bit is at the bottom, just flat to the floor, and the string, the rope that it was attached to, has sort of fallen with it.
At that point, then I don't want to shout, but I would shake Vesper to get up as her, what would you call it, alarm system had been tripped.
She heard it. She heard the bell too, so she's woken up by it.
Oh, good.
It's at this point, though, that Arrayus starts to have, like, still fast asleep, starts to just have a really bad dream. There's no real... It's difficult to pinpoint details. It's very vague. But you know when you just have one of those bad dreams and you wake up and you think, that was a really bad dream?
Yeah. I was going to say I probably would be pushing her awake anyway, as Aurelio. She's next to me. I don't know if I could tell she's having a bad dream, but just to get her up because of the alarm.
Aurelia has no idea. But Arius kind of is woken up by Aurelio and feels just, like that was a really bad dream. I didn't like that. Can't really pinpoint any detail. Lyra is also sort of stirring from the commotion. Velspear, make a investigation check for me.
Okay.
Can I spin around as well just to look with my dark vision?
You can make an investigation check elsewhere too.
She's more interested in salvaging her ballam rope.
Okay.
Investigation. Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
Velspear, your bellum rope are still relatively intact, and you can still see that they are the two ends of the two sets of rope are tied together at both ends. They just seem to have fallen.
Oh.
It then later becomes apparent that at some point, about halfway down one of the sets of rope, they were cut.
Oh.
Aurelia, you see, kind of giving a very cursory glance, you don't see anybody in the immediate vicinity. However, you see all sorts of footsteps and foot tracks and stuff like that, from all sorts of different beasties and creatures that tend to live in forests. There is a set, however, that draws your attention, to sort of where your cursor is in that direction, that stand out as uniquely different enough to warrant a second look.
Okay, I'll point them out to everyone else. So these look unusual compared to everything else.
They look bipedal, and they only really go they come from this direction, but they only really go about 20 feet and then just sort of disappear. You lose all sight of them.
So they come towards, is there a set coming towards and a set going away?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I move forward and they vanish.
Doing this, what is like the time setting of the night? Is it like becoming morning where the sun's just coming up, or is it still just darkness?
The sun is starting to rise. The footsteps start and finish about here.
The bow, pick up all the rope, put it away, not even give the part Tindril gave her back to him. She's taking it all. And kind of just be concerned about it being cut, but not really speaking to anyone about it. She doesn't really know why.
Okay. The footsteps don't even sort of fade in and fade out. They literally start, walk inwards towards, basically between you and Lyra sleeping, and then turn around and leave, and stop in roughly the same spot as they started. And they still look fairly fresh. The rope is salvageable. You would just have two halves of 50-foot rope instead of a full 50-foot rope. And it literally just looks like... No. Yeah.
So where they stop, I'm just gonna push my mace out towards where they stop in the ground.
Okay. There's bush and shrubbery and all sorts at the base of the trees that are around you, and kind of, brushing through them with your mace, nothing makes contact apart from leaves and sticks and twigs and such, and branches. And you can't see anything with your dark vision. Like, it doesn't. You can't see anything apart from your surroundings. It's almost like whatever was there just appeared and disappeared.
Something definitely was here. Appeared and disappeared.
Valspar goes up to him and has a look round. Maybe it was a druid or something that can change into the form of a bird of some sort.
Maybe.
Because they don't turn into any other type of tracks. They just vanish. What would do that?
It's definitely not standing there invisible. I checked for that. I said mace, but I got a flail. I don't know why, but I got a flail. Anyway.
It's just a long mace. You're okay.
Well, it's a mace with a chain. But, yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Well, you on watch, weren't you, Tidra? Keep an eye out. I don't know. Do your best. And I'll give you the blessing again, which I can just do, which replaces it from me to you instead. And I guess I'm going to try to get back to sleep.
Okay.
Finish off the rest.
There's about an hour left of the rest to complete before you get the full benefit. And this sort of 5 or 10 minute intrusion isn't going to impact that too much. The Lyra just about managed to kind of rouse herself properly to have a look around, but didn't really get involved very much. She was just sort of watching and cowering as she normally would. Okay, Tejo, as everyone else settles down for the rest of their rest and you finish off your watch, the sun rises again and birds start chirping. More and more creatures just sort of wake up for their mornings and just go about their day.
Do I notice anything like different other than the fact that something cut a rope? Well, I don't know if I know they cut the rope, but was anything missing? Anything gone?
No, not really. It's literally, the camp seems the same. The campfire was just being restarted, and up until it was cut, the rope was doing its job, and it did its job. It alerted you that something happened. None of your possessions are missing. None of you are missing. Arrayas is a bit kind of jittery from her bad night of dreams, but that's about it, really.
Okay. Bit of a weird one.
Everyone, I guess, just eat my two will just eat their rations and for breakfast, and
Yeah, armor back on, all that kind of stuff, and then
Okay.
get ready for the day.
Cool. Cool. The day begins, and you start walking in a sort of general direction. You hopefully westward. And it's only about an hour into the day before you come across a small glade with all sorts of different plants and flowers growing from the ground that seem to be almost drinking in the light. The sun is shining on this place, similar to the places you saw yesterday, but not quite so unsettling looking. Like, you don't get that unsettling feeling from this place. It's almost like the plants are photosynthesizing at such an aggressive rate that they are kind of consuming the light as it is falling on them.
That's any of the trees. Sorry.
Currently, it doesn't look like there are trees that you would get the willow shade fruit from, but it does look like the sort of place you would get the dream lily from.
Okay, I'll have a look for some of that then.
All right, roll a nature check for me.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
Cool. You find a good selection of dream lily, and taking the advice, you make sure to not touch it. Similar to basically everything, you're never quite sure what the components of such a thing are and whether it would have a positive or negative effect on you. So keeping yourself safe, gloves, and a nice safe distance from any potential inhalation, as the dust that comes from it is not pleasant. But
That's 3 things down on the list. Just need some of that fruit on that tree, the willow shade fruit. And obviously the main thing, the bearded green thing.
Green beard, yes.
Yes. The bearded green, not the green beard.
It sounds like we're up against a tree, so either way works.
Okay.
Yeah.
Continuing on for another 2 hours. You're all starting to acclimatize to the area, to the sort of things you would potentially see in a forest now, where, you know, 1 minute you have a group of deer just sort of run in front of you a few hundred feet ahead that, you know, graceful and sort of quick, lithe. Next, you see a boar rummaging through the ground, rooting around looking for food. And then there's all sorts of nasty, creepy crawlies just sort of swamping over a carcass of something, or the roots of a dead tree, kind of making their home there for something. And after those couple of hours, you again find yourselves... Oh, got the wrong thing selected, that's why. Coming to a small clearing with another felled tree. Unnaturally, but also not purposefully felled tree over Not even a stream this time, just ground. Still looking very fresh. Looking like a perfectly healthy tree.
There's a lot of knocked over trees in this place.
Yes, this seems like yet again, another odd copy of that opening we seem to stumble upon.
Every time there's less and less water.
You're right. It's like someone is trying to make a loop on itself, but is taking away from the land each time. Though I have to admit, I'm not in the forest often, and Tedril has never been in the forest, so I don't know what to expect, really.
Just a bit uneasy, isn't it? You said you heard laughing. Someone cut out a alarm rope and then came from nowhere and vanished to nowhere.
Yes.
Something's definitely probably seems to be following us or watching us, isn't it?
Yeah. Whether it's the creature that's guarding the green gem, or something entirely else. I do not know.
To be honest, gardening works too.
Yay, I'm right on both fronts.
As again, you get closer to the sort of unnatural, sort of the clearing that just doesn't look right. This time there is definitely a kind of the feeling of dread just fills you all as you get closer and closer. Lyra's sort of, she walks over to it sort of in front of Araeus and Aurelia, but this time just steps back and seems very unwilling to go forwards.
Well, we need to keep going. Got some more things to find. I mean, you're still making some progress, right?
I mean, yeah, sure. We found lots of actual ingredients, and we're soon needing to hit the main one.
There's no one around.
There's no one around.
Although we're all just waiting. Like, please something happen so we don't have to sacrifice any of our own.
Oh, ye of little faith.
None of us has said it. It's just we're all thinking it.
Which way are we headed this time? Straight over again?
Straight over again.
Guess.
Yeah.
Start going around in the shade again, I guess.
Okay. Everyone make Constitution saving throws for me.
Okay.
Not bad. Not bad. All of you, except for Lyra, are able to continue walking. Lyra, however, just sort of freezes in place. She's just sort of walking normally, taking her step, sort of stepping, step, and then just pauses mid-step, like in a position where it wouldn't be comfortable to stop. And yet, just all momentum just stops immediately.
Having T-Drill be behind her and her just stopping, he's not took it as something stopping her. He's more of, she's small, so she may need to rest, and just walks around her.
Okay.
I feel I'd notice at the front, so I'd go a little bit more.
Okay.
Till I would notice, I don't know.
She just
Depends how
stops.
often.
They no noise, no kind of attempt to get your attention. She's just stopped.
I mean, I don't know if I'd just turn round until we got to the other side, I guess.
It's fine. You do what you think you would do.
Shadows get to the other side and then maybe then look round and be like, where's Lyra?
As you look round, you can see her. What would that be, like 40 feet, 50-ish feet away from you? Just paused in an unnatural position, face sort of still that look of sort of anxiety you've seen her with basically this entire journey, but she's just frozen. She's not blinking, her eyes aren't moving, her chest isn't moving to say she's breathing, nothing.
You left her behind. What's wrong with her?
No, she stopped for a rest. She's a fast little one. I assume she was just catching her breath and then was gonna catch up to us. I don't know why she's still there, unless she needs more breath than the rest of us.
Maybe we should go and get her. I will go back to get her.
Okay.
Call out if you need help.
Can I pick her up?
You can.
I'll probably try to like tap her awake first.
Okay.
Or make a move, you know.
Just giving her a little sort of pat on the shoulder, just to see if she reacts in any way. She just kind of, almost as soon as you touch her, there's just an immediate kind of, like she finishes the movement she was in, movement just starts coming back straight to her, and she looks up at you, and, don't know what that was. Sorry.
Would we know we saved on something, like tried to make an effect on us?
Not really. You've just had that feeling about you this whole time that just feels wrong. But this time especially, it's not entirely clear whether you've had to save on something or if it's just another lingering effect that you've just had to deal with.
Okay, well, let's go. Make sure you stay in the middle then, maybe.
Okay. I will. And she just kind of slots in And she just starts sort of, as she's walking, she just starts talking to Tadril. Oh, that was such a weird feeling. I don't know what that. Don't really know how that happened or what that was. It was unpleasant.
I just thought you were catching your breath.
No, not catching my breath.
Okay. Well, if you stop next time, I'll bump into you to see if that allows you to move again.
Okay. A bit more walking. And eventually, did I? Yes, I did. Another sort of 2 hours pass, and you leave sort of the sort of dense, thick forest, and you start to come out into this nice sort of preened, not farmland, almost sort of somewhat close to pasture land, where there's sort of buildings, sort of, and there's a stone bridge that goes from sort of one side of a sort of small hill to another, and you can see that on those there's some sort of wooden buildings that have been created, and the stream passes through here as well, and there's a tall stone tower that looks to be in a fairly big state of disrepair, but is still standing at least. And there's, in a complete change from what you've been experiencing for the last few days, there's a herd of sheep that are just kind of milling around and munching down on the grass and kind of keeping it at a nice grazed height. And it just looks like a more sort of a place that someone has claimed and at least been working the land for a while.
So it doesn't look like something that would probably be in the deep forests necessarily normally.
I mean, that would be a fair assumption to make, but you never. The thing is, people set up places like this when they're trying to escape city life, or if they just want to claim some land for their own, you know. So it does happen. It's just not like a regular thing.
Well, this is curious.
What's it doing here, of all places?
Maybe this is where, I don't know, there's some link to the person that's been messing with us or watching us.
Shall we go see if anyone's in then, I guess?
Yeah. Yeah, and Arias is going to keep an eye out for the willow shade fruit trees. And Orlando's going to keep an eye out for people or things.
Okay. So Hoomstever be looking for the trees, make investigation checks. And then Hoomstever be looking for people, make perception checks, please.
Tree.
Ooh.
Amazing.
People. Oh, people.
How the tables have turned.
I know.
Okay. Arias, you do see some fruit-bearing trees. You do see some apple trees, and then you see a few kind of orange trees as well. And you also do see some of the willow shade fruit trees.
Actual oranges or just orange coloured fruit?
Actual oranges.
Okay, so I don't see the ones we're after.
Yeah, you do.
Okay.
I think I said that. I think I said this. You see some willow shade fruit trees.
I didn't.
Just kind of spattered in and amongst the apple trees.
Okay. Cool. Are they
No people though.
around us now, or?
They're sort of scattered around the pasture that you're currently in.
Okay, I'd probably lead the guys around so I'm not by myself
Mhm.
and just point them out and start collecting as many as I can.
Sounds good. Sounds good. It's not difficult to work out which ones are which, like which ones are apples and which ones are the willow shade fruit, because, like I said, they're blue, so they do sort of stand out, obviously. And as you reach up to pick them, even through the gloves, you can feel some kind of feeling seeping through the gloves into your fingers, and it kind of makes your fingers tingle a little bit. But once you kind of put them in the bag and stop touching them, the feeling quickly dissipates.
I get a good amount as well.
You get 7 or 8 of them. It's not bad. Like, they're decent size, and fully grown. Like, ripe is the word I'm looking for. Ripe.
Well, guys, that's 4 out of 4. Well, for the other ingredients. One more thing to find. But maybe whatever or whoever's in here knows, or maybe it's inside there.
That's a strong possibility considering the weirdness of these woods.
Oscar, you're sneaky, maybe. Is there any way of is there any windows on this thing?
Oh, let's have a quick look around the outside of the building then. And yeah, I'll have a sneak in if I can.
From a quick glance, there are 2 or 3 windows sort of scattered around. They're not very big, but they just seem to be there for air ventilation, if nothing else.
Okay.
But they're a bit of a climb, so you would have to, climb a little bit to get to them.
How high of a climb would it be? 5, 10 feet?
The closest one's 20 feet up.
Okay. Am I on the right side of the map?
Yeah.
For it? Okay, then I will. I'm not afraid of it. Use my. How much do these allow me to go up? I am not even going to check if there's handholds. I'm just going to use my pitons to make little areas for me to hold on and stand on as I climb up to the window.
Okay. You sort of get a few of the pitons out and just sort of knock them into the mortar of the building, and they go in quite easily, wedging in between some of the stones to give them a bit more purchase as well. And you manage to put 4 or 5 of them in, pull yourself up, and sort of looking in through the window first, you can just about see darkness inside and a building that has been uninhabited for months, if not years.
There is no light at all.
No. It seems...
Go on.
It seems like was some combination of a home and like storage shed / barn in the past, but has either been abandoned or been made to be abandoned.
Okay. I will go back down, taking my pitons out.
Okay.
And when I get back to the group, I go through that way. No. There is a weird wall between that bush. Once I get back to the group, I let them know that the place looks oddly abandoned, as if no one's lived there, or if someone is living there, trying to make it look abandoned.
There are random walls here. I've just, as you told me, I was like, oh, and yes, there are. Just
It's fine. But yeah, I let the group know everything that I saw and that it just seems empty.
Well, was there a door at the front?
there is a door. It seems to be, well, it looks locked, or at least shut.
Okay.
Here, let me
Well, I
try
guess we
this.
go in.
I'm
Go on.
gonna use this. I'm gonna use it to. I'm hoping the door's unlocked and use it to fly open.
Okay.
Mhm.
Your thaumaturgy blasts out towards the door, and you feel the impact of the spell on the door, and it sort of resists for a moment, and then the door just slams open. Just clouds of dust emit from the room, from the sudden force of air just circulating through the room. The dust comes flying out and doesn't really affect you in any way. It just is quite overwhelming all of a sudden. Lyra walks up and says to Arrayas, "Whew, that was a lot. Wasn't expecting that."
Yeah, looks like it hasn't been occupied for a very long time. Don't know why we'd need to go in there, but
I
hard to
mean,
resist the call.
yeah. I know we're here on a quest for supplies, but we're making good time. We could explore a little, I guess.
Bellspear,
Well, the
Tedril, and
thing-
Aurelia make perception checks for me.
Not my other one, though. Not Arrayas, no.
No.
Okay.
Tedril, you hear it first, and then Aurelio, and eventually Velspear. There's a noise from the top of the tower, and then ruffling of something, and then a sort of something brushing through the air at a great speed, and then a shriek as from top of the tower a huge eagle like bird just flies out and turns towards you and dives in your direction. We will I think we should all roll initiative, please.
I think my thing still applies to T-Drill.
I mean, you applied to it me twice, and it doesn't say it wears off.
No, it just amends after the roll, or I use it again. So you get advantage, I believe.
Tidril gets advantage on that, which is nice. That works.
Yep, in typical me fashion, I rolled terribly.
That's
Spell.
Aurelio.
That's not bad.
Move. Oh, I did bad with her.
I'm glad someone's worse than me. We will. Boom. Tidro! The creature is up in the air,
How much up in the air?
30 feet.
Okay, I can't actually see it here. Oh, this rock is.
I
in the
know,
way.
that rock is in the way.
So 25. If it's 30 feet up, That's my 40 feet. How far is it? 15 feet and 30 feet up. He can't do much. He's going to throw his hammer at it.
Okay.
I was going to ask before we started fighting it. I mean, I guess obviously we started combat, but it looks like it wants to kill us, right?
Oh yeah, it's diving down towards you. It would have been more impactful if I'd have gone closer to first in the queue, but never mind.
Okay.
What does it change to if it's ranged? Or does that not matter for the hammer? Doesn't look like it matters.
It will be with disadvantage.
Okay, yeah, because it's within that range. That's fair enough.
Ooh.
It does a 19 hit.
Yeah?
He just yeets his little hammer. Amazing.
Deadly damage. Okay.
He's just so proud, yet he's also keeping an eye on where it lands.
It sort of hits him in the chest, hits the creature in the chest, and bounces back down and just sort of falls directly down underneath it.
Okay.
Okay. 30 feet in the air.
Indeedy.
We're going to do 2 things. I think I'm going to stay... How far away? I don't cast spells off him.
That's true.
Do I want to use a slot on that? Oh, 60 feet. Okay. I'll cast Spiritual Weapon.
Okay.
I've not used Companion Manager, I think, ever.
I don't know
It's
if
not
it works properly.
No, it's not going to. In
I think
the
important question is, what does your spiritual weapon look like?
Oh, I don't even know. A giant glowing flail
Okay.
to represent mine, but in holy form. Actually, would it be glowing? I know it's holy damage, but it's kind of like Twilight Domain, so maybe with a moony kind of glow to it.
Okay. So many things. Nope. Like that.
Right, that's good to me. Can't control it, but it'll be next to it.
Hang on.
Sorry.
These things are the kind of things that are really cool to have, but then take a few moments to set up. There you go. You should be able to move it now.
I can indeed.
Hell yeah.
Right. So my magical flail thing is going to attack the thing.
Mm-hmm.
I can summon an attack as a bonus action with it, right?
You can indeed.
Cool.
16 will hit.
Okay, and
6. Nice.
force damage. That's my bonus action, and for my main action, back to a different thing. I'm going to channel divinity,
Okay.
which I can find by doing this, and I'm going to do a Twilight Sanctuary. So I'm going to hold my holy symbol up, and a sphere of twilight emanates from me, centered on me for a 30-foot radius. Which doesn't seem to have done it. Whenever a creature, including me, ends my turn in the sphere, I can grant the creature 1d6 plus 3 temporary hit points, or remove Charmed of Frighten. So say unless it happens, I'm going to be doing 1d6 points plus 3 temporary hit points to whatever creature ends its turn. So I guess I just do this as a blanket. 7 temporary hit points if people end their turn in the 30-foot sphere from me.
Okay.
Radius.
Nice.
So it's quite big, I guess.
Yeah,
That.
it's pretty chunky.
Big point. So, and I'm going to end my turn. So I will gain 7 temporary hit points as well.
Okay.
Oh, wow. I was zoomed in. That's bigger than I saw.
Cool. Right. Fell spear.
Yeah. She is gonna... I need my ruler to run around this rock. Do my full 30 feet. And then targeting the eagle, she is gonna cast Firebolt.
Okie dokie.
Oh no.
Amazing.
No, she's not. It just goes flying off into the sunset.
Oh no.
Oh yes.
Yeah, that's where she ends her turn.
Okay.
Yeah. Just gotta add her temporary hit points, don't I?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
7 temporary hit points.
There you go. Don't know why that popped up. Adding them, but okay.
Lyra is going to move there. And is going to be... She just pulls out this sort of 3-foot long big chunk of wood. And just kind of holds it in both hands, ready. But still looks slightly uncertain. And... yeah, just waits. It is now the big griffin's turn. It is going to continue its descent, and it is going to come down, and it's going to use one attack to peck at you with its beak. 12 hit?
Misses by 1.
God damn it. And then it's going to come at you with its claws.
No, no.
No, it's not. Wow, that was an underwhelming turn. Feels good, man. Never mind, it's Arias' turn. Hooray!
Okay. She's going to move. You can see it anyway, but she's going to move slightly further around.
Mm-hmm.
I could do... No, because I'll get temporary hit points from that anyway, so you can't have more than one set of temporaries. So kind of pointless. Actually, no, I'm going to cast... see. I'm going to cast... this thing we need to...
That's an
No, an
interesting
Eldritch
spell
Blast.
I know, it's a really strange spell name.
I keep forgetting we've got guidance on 2 characters and I didn't give it to anyone once. Hey, even myself. I'm going to Eldritch
Honestly,
Blast.
that sounds like Aqua using haste on everyone but Vic.
That hits.
Noise. Boom.
3 force damage.
Boom.
Not bad, not bad.
I'm going to use my incantation thing to... I don't need to, but I might as well. Move it back 10 feet.
Okay.
I've got Repelling Blast. I can put you up to 10 feet away from you in a straight line. So 10 feet away in a straight line because...
Would that mean I get an opportunity of attack?
I don't usually, but I don't know. It doesn't say you do or don't, but...
I would say
normally if
no.
something
Just
moves you.
yeah, I was going to say no, just from the fact that it's up in the air.
Okay, yeah, no, that's fair.
And that will be. I don't know what bonus actions I can really do. Actually, I should have probably checked that bonus action. Oh, I can Misty Step. I won't. That will be me, and I'll gain the 7 temp hit points as well.
Okay. Top of the round, Tidro.
He is gonna go over to, I guess, where his hammer was. Pick it up. Assuming it was in that area.
Okay.
And instead of his hammer this time, he is gonna throw a dart
Okay.
at the eagle. Right, I'm selecting it.
12 hits.
12. Ooh. Perfect.
Such damage, much wow.
And then he is gonna. How much did you use? 15. So he's gonna use the last of his movement to get here, which should grant him the temporary hit points, yeah?
Yeah.
And then end his turn in it.
Okay. Aurelio.
Do we want to use spell slots? We got them to use.
Got
We
them
do
to
indeed.
use.
How far can I move? It's to 10 feet. I can move the spiritual weapon. I think it's 10, isn't it?
What does a spell say?
I don't know.
20 feet.
Yep. Okay. Cool. I will. That's about.
Yeah, it's a bonus action move and hit.
10 feet and take another swing with my bonus action. I don't know if I can do. Oh, I can just do this from here. Oh, I can. I can't. There's no actions. It was +5.
It should be proficiency plus your spellcasting modifier.
Yeah, it was plus. So if I do +5, I believe. That's Vic.
15 hits.
Can I just roll back up to it and find it again and just roll it again? No. Weird. Jesus. If I can just click attack like this. Oh, I've done that. Oh, I can just do it from here. I can just do damage now. Okay. That's done that, and then for my action, I'm just going to Sacred Flame it. Is 60 feet.
Okay, so 8 damage first, and then Sacred Flame.
Yep. It's probably quite dexterous, I'd imagine.
It didn't use multi-attack. Don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, jeez.
Cool. Cool. Never mind. I didn't use multi.
Don't worry, it's come up like every time you've clicked whatever you've clicked.
I know. It's like every time I click something or hit enter or it's just
We'll
Griffin uses multi-attack.
go to the edge and she's gonna try another firebolt again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Ten misses.
Ooh, okay. That is her turn.
Okay. Good old low-level D&D. Alright, what can you do? Should have looked at this before. Nothing. Cool. Well, she's just going to move up alongside you. It is now the Griffin's turn. And is going to once again dive in. Go for a beak attack against you, Valspear. Beak. Beak, beak. 15.
That hits.
Damage. 11 points of piercing damage to you, my
11.
friend.
And as that happens, I will use a reaction. Do Hellish
Hellish
Rebuke
Okay.
to make a saving throw. 10.
The tables have turned.
Okay, you only take half. That's fair.
Cool.
So 5 fire damage.
Alrighty. Is next going to use its claws against you because it doesn't like being attacked. 10.
That misses.
Okay. It has to stay put.
Ooh.
Arias.
So is it down now on the floor?
It's 5 feet-ish, give or take. It's within 5 feet of the ground, we'll say.
Move slight. Nope. Even. Nope. 5. I
This
can
rock
now.
is the eagle's best friend.
I'm going to use a bonus action.
Mm-hmm.
Target. I saw it come down and strike in. Then when I come round and I see who it was striking and there's some woundage on you,
Yeah.
I'm going to use Healing Light
Ooh.
as a bonus action. And I'm going to use this available usage. I only use one use of it. So I don't know how it's going to let me pick one dice. Let's see. Can I pick? Wow, I can pick one. I don't know. Normal? Nice. I was only going to use one dice anyway. So you gain 4 healing,
Thank you.
Bellspear. And for my action, Witch Bolt.
Which bolt? Alright.
Where's it gone? Oh, it's not bonus action. Action. Oh, there we go. Do I want to use Witch Bolt? Yeah, why not? Don't miss.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh. Critical hit. Oh, Jesus. Well, there's 1 and a 2 in there, though, but...
It's still not bad.
Fiery. From above. That is my turn ended.
T-drill.
so if I was to stand completely under it, could I reach it to do an unarmed strike, or is it just out of reach?
No, it's within 5 feet of the ground.
Okay. Well, he is definitely going to go up to it then.
Mm-hmm.
And he is going to... Does he want to? Yes, he does. He's going to bonus action Flurry of Blows.
You have to take the attack action first.
Okay. Well, it's attack action.
Twelve just hits.
Okay. And then the Flurry of Blow 1 misses, so we'll just leave it at that.
Flurry of blows gives you 2 attacks, no?
Well,
You after you make the
yeah.
attack action, you can use 1 key point to make 2 unarmed strikes as a bonus action.
Oh, okay, see, I was doing it the other way around, making the 2 from Flurry of Blows first and then just using my attack action.
No, you have to do the attack action first.
Oh, okay.
So you still have one attack.
I will use my second attack then.
And there's no point rolling. You've finished him off.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. You had 1 hit point left.
Aw.
You come up and you just like
Griffin.
crack him in the chest, and you feel the rib cage shatter.
How much does he explode? He maximally explodes.
You feel like the rib cage shatter. Sort of you instinctively know that part of the rib cage shatters and just embeds in the creature's heart. And the last 5 feet that it's up, it just falls to the floor. In a heap, let's say.
Poor Griffin. Why'd it attack us?
I guess it's guarding something?
Are we still in combat? Is there something else around?
No, I just forgot to get rid of it.
Okay. I was just like, oh.
Sorry.
There was another one. No, sorry.
I was like, cool, we're done. And then, yeah.
Okay, so I'll probably... How do I remove things again? That one? No. I don't know what I've done now. Okay, and a spiritual weapon only lasts a short while too, I guess?
I think so.
I think it's only a short little bit. For 1 minute as well, same as my around me thing, so I'd assume that's probably gone as well.
It will be going pretty swiftly.
Okay. Well, I said we don't need to harvest any animals for this potion, so I guess unless we know there's value in a griffin's body, then I guess we don't need to.
It doesn't seem like something, unless we see what it was guarding, if anything. We can just leave it out here for now.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's go in and see if there's a way, I don't know, up to the roof or somewhere else.
There is an old kind of decrepit staircase that does spiral around the wall outwardly that seems to get to the roof. The place itself is a mess. There are cracks, there are holes, there are all sorts. It's pretty nasty. This definitely looks like it's been abandoned for a while. And there's a hole in the roof that has allowed the elements in quite a lot. And it's almost like the griffin has been sort of coming inside when needed, but also spending most of its time on the roof.
Well, if this is the thing, if that thing had made the griffin guard it, I guess it must be up top then.
Yeah, how dark is it inside? Is it dark enough that we would need to... Because obviously we can see in grayscale, but would we want to light a torch just in case we miss anything?
I don't know, would you?
Can if you want.
Just kind of asking the group, because I feel like I would.
No harm. I'm sure we probably all got 10 each if you want to.
Yeah, Vesper will light a torch.
Okay.
Where is her torches? Apparently, oh, she has candles. She doesn't have torches. She lights a candle.
Okay.
That's the whole 5 foot of light.
Yeah.
I don't know what torches give.
Don't worry, she can do this and make it brighter for a minute.
That 1 minute of light. Hell yeah.
As many times as you want.
Lyra pulls out an
It takes me a minute to do it.
Lyra pulls out an actual torch. which is useful because it is starting to get dark.
Oh, it takes all the fun away from me attempting to do this.
Is this a hole into the underground or just a bit of
It's
puddle and rubble kind of?
it's just a crack, and there's a lot of debris that seems to have fallen in. So it could have been potentially access to a sewer, or not a sewer, sorry, a basement once, or a cellar that has kind of been caved through, and then things that have fallen from the ceiling and the roof has fallen down and filled some of it in.
Okay. I guess should we single file up these stairs then?
Yeah, let's take it slow because they don't look the safest of stairs.
Lyra just kind of hangs back a little bit. Whoops, I'm in the wrong thing. Lyra kind of hangs back, just sort of says to Velspir, since you're closest, the person in the room said that the creature that is close to the stuff we're looking for would be very possessive over it. Maybe that's what we were dealing with. Maybe that's why it attacked us.
Yeah, most airborne creatures are very possessive over especially shiny objects. That for sure I know, so we will go up to the top of the tower and claim whatever's up there.
Very well.
Mhm.
I'll keep watch down here.
You sure you should be alone?
Do you not trust me?
Just if you need
We
a
just got
shout.
attacked.
I'll be okay.
I believe in you.
Okay. Then we'll go to the top.
Okay. When you get to the top of the steps, some of them are a bit sketchy. Some of them are definitely loose and a bit more sketchy than others. But you manage to make it to the top. And at the top you see that the floor is just coated in twigs, leaves, branches, all sorts, and mosses and all sorts of plant life to kind of make a nice big nest for the griffin to have nested in. And inside you can see that there's an egg that's kind of been knocked to the side on its side and is just kind of pushed to the very edge of the nest itself. And in the middle is a large watermelon-sized, greenish, sort of translucent gem type thing. It's a bit like amber in its appearance, shape, and form, except green, obviously. And this seems to have been given pride of place in the middle of the nest, and you can kind of tell just by how the nest itself has been laying that this is what has been protected and cared for most of the time.
Okay, and there's nothing else around up here.
Not really. It's the majority of what's left of the roof, or at least is what's left of the stable part of the roof, has been made into the nest itself.
Remind me, guys, what did he say about this? This is again like the other things. Just make sure we don't touch it with our bare hands, right?
Yes, it makes you want to keep it or protect it or be obsessed with it. Something like that.
Okay, so maybe I can do it without touching it at all. So if I get like a cloth out, I can throw the cloth over it and kind of pick it up with the cloth, tie it up, then put it into my bag.
Yes, that seems best. I have no tools on me to help with this, unfortunately.
It's okay. If I just, how big is it? Is it quite small? Or...
Oh no, it's pretty substantial size. Think a sort of fairly large watermelon in like actual comparative size.
Oh. Okay. Well, we can. Yeah, if we as long as we cover the whole thing up, and then carry it back, we should be okay, right?
As long as we can properly cover it up, yeah. But how are we going to do that?
I mean, we've got covers and stuff, right? For sleeping, and could
Yeah,
always
I
take
suppose.
some. Anyone any spare clothes or anything? We can just fashion something out of them. Um, I've got vestments as Aurelio,
Mm-hmm.
and I've got common clothes. So I could use my vestments to wrap it around it. Obviously, using gloves to wrap around it, we can use them to cover the whole thing up, and then we can just carry it out, I guess. Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay.
Who'll do it? It'll be Ras will do that.
Okay. Okay. Nice, nice, nice.
Do you want the egg as well or not?
I mean, there's no harm.
Yeah.
Did somebody say pet griffin?
No. It's probably
I
been
think the
neglected and it's not
Navigators would be
alive.
amazed if we could get them a pet griffin.
Could be good. Okay. Can one of you grab that and put it in your bag then?
Yeah, Vespa
And
will grab the griffin egg and stick it in her bag.
okay. So Arias is carrying the water. Is it too big to go in the backpack or bag?
It would certainly fill it, and it would be quite heavy. But it might be more convenient than just trying to kind of hold it and avoid touching it for however long you travel back for.
Okay. Well, as long as it fits, I'll still leave the vestments fully covering it,
Mm-hmm.
tied around it. We'll use some rope. We've got rope. I've got rope as well, 50 feet, so I can use the vestments to wrap around it by using gloves and tie it up like a parcel,
Okay.
and then tuck it in her bag. Well, that's everything we needed. That was quite good.
Yeah, I think we handled that particularly well.
All we've got to do is make it back now. Guess we go back down the stairs and make sure Lyra's okay.
She is sort of sat down back against the wall over here, just kind of, picking at her fingernails a little bit, cleaning them out from underneath her.
Okay. Well, Lara, we've got everything. I think it's time we try to start heading back.
Okay.
Actually, it was getting late, weren't it? How's it look outside?
It's getting dark. I mean, it's not necessarily late, but if you started walking now, you've still got your whole day of traveling behind you. So you'd only be able to go 2 or 3 hours, and then you're in the middle of the forest again.
Yeah, I feel like we had a good setup last time. I'm confident we can do it again.
Yeah. Then we can there should just be one more day to travel. If not, we can push a bit further.
Okay.
Get through the last day anyway.
Alrighty. In that case,
This water's glowing.
I know it's a weird effect. I'm not entirely sure why it's like that. Cool. So you start heading off back into the forest, and within an hour, you're already hitting the... Oh, go away, stupid. The same sort of things you were before, where a glade, and then beyond it, a river, a sort of small stream with a fallen tree.
We'll just probably just keep doing the same thing we did last time, right? Just even though it's dark, they'll avoid the central area.
Let's go this way straight down, I guess.
Okay. Just keep walking down and down. Eventually, Velspear, you start hearing that laughter again. Just off in different directions, almost like it's circling around you. Kind of different distances. One time round, it's right next to your ear, and then it gets to the other side, and it's quite far away. And then it stays quite far away, and then circles in, and then away, and in, and away, and in, and it's just constant.
Guys, who's doing that? The laughing's back.
Thought that might stop when we get this thing, but I guess that's not what has been doing
I
it.
assumed it was part of our quest, but it's going round and round like it's everywhere, not in one place. I say we continue as much as we can, because I don't feel great stopping anytime soon. So
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Continuing on then. You continue walking through familiar but different. That's gone too far. There we are. Familiar but different. And then back into the sort of overgrown, mossy and damp forest. Continuing your journey, pushing through the tiredness that's creeping up on you. Everyone make a Constitution saving throw for me. Oh dear.
Oh, bad one for me. And you.
same.
Okay. Velspear, Aurelio, and Tedril, or Tidril, all take a point of exhaustion just from trying to push through.
Yeah, that's fine.
Beyond sort of your natural capability. You can all feel the tiredness creeping up on you, but determined to keep going, as Velspear sort of continues to hear the laughing and still has that feeling of being followed. The sort of paranoia that brings just inherently is what drives you forwards. Continuing in well into the night, you feel just drained. The moon crosses the peak of the sky, starts to dip back down. You can feel the early morning just taking grip, but still you power through. At this point, you've been traveling for 6-7 hours since you left with the griffin, after the griffin, and you re-enter another similar grove. Every time you've entered one, they've been similar but different in some sort of small, minute ways. And every time you've had that horrible feeling of sort of dread or uneasiness that's just overcoming you, and either some kind of nasty effect hits you or you just hear or feel something. This time, as you sort of realize where you are, I need all of you to make a perception check, please. Okay. Tidril and Arius, being the most aware still at this point, somewhat still alert, you both, join Velspir in hearing a laughing from somewhere around you. And Tidril and Arius, you kind of start looking around, and the two of you are sure that somewhere over on this side of the small grassy vale you've entered, there's a hunched over sort of 6.5, 7 foot tall creature. It's difficult to tell in the darkness. Creature just hunched over on 2 feet, staring at you, sort of moving up and down, and that you would, in a movement you would expect to see from a creature that's laughing. And then it sort of steps forward and just disappears. Not in a sort of goes behind a tree or steps into a shadow, but just sort of almost evaporates before your eyes.
Tell me I'm not the only one that saw that.
No, I saw it too.
What did you see?
It would look like an old lady from what I can gather with how dark it is, but it's what Vesper was on about. The laughing. The laughing was coming from her.
That's weird.
She vanished though.
You sure
Yeah,
you didn't just hallucinate?
I mean,
We both saw it, I guess. It's a hunched over
Yeah.
figure.
you could say we're tired, but now 3 of us have heard the laughing and 2 of us have seen an old woman. These woods are getting stranger and stranger.
That is very strange.
If we keep just pushing through and not bother resting tonight.
I mean, at this
don't
point
know.
we might as well. It feels dangerous to stop in a place where wherever that was can just appear on us.
Yeah, and we can catch up on our rest when we get back. I'm sure they won't mind.
Okay. I don't know. I am very tired.
Sure you could make it.
It's T-Drill. Would you like me to carry you?
No?
Well, if you feel like you're too tired to carry on and the group decides to push on, feel free to ask. I'm more than happy to give you a piggyback.
I'd rather just rest, but never mind. We'll continue. Just walks on ahead of you all.
I think I've angered the small one, guys.
Bum, bum, bum.
Bum, 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 bum. Continuing on. Lyra, this time, sort of seeming to take the lead a little bit, just continues walking forwards. There's a sort of a different feeling to the forest now. It's giving off even more sort of unsettling vibe. It doesn't take long to notice that there's less sound, fewer animals sort of chirping, creeping around, making noise. That could just be down to it being very late at night, early in the morning, or it could be down to something else. You're not really able to tell. And you notice that you are eventually getting to a point where the ground starts to harden again. You're coming out of the sort of boggier part of the forest into more solid ground. When you left on your journey yesterday, that was about an hour from the town. Seems you're not too far away.
Okay. Just keep pushing through then. Aurelio can see quite well.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
Happy to take the lead, or eyes at the front.
Everyone make another Constitution saving throw for me.
Sorry, you say con save?
Yes, please. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, I don't think I heard it.
Okay. Velspear, Areus, and Aurelio take another point of exhaustion. As just pushing through the sort of effort of having to find a way through the brush, like the underbrush, and just pushing through extreme exhaustion starts to take its toll. Eventually, you start to smell smoke in the air, and you can hear the sort of dim sound of movement and activity somewhere off in the distance, and the sort of telltale signs of dawn breaking indicates you are almost home. You are just a few hundred meters away from the town of Compass. And you are back.
Nice.
Eventually, you kind of escape the clutch of trees that are really tight and open up, and they sort of get a bit more sparse as they've been cleared out, ready for either expansion or just easier growing land. And you can see beneath you the sort of selection and array of houses and buildings that have been built up in the last few months to a year. And you can see the sort of Grand Adventurers Guild Hall that was one of the first buildings in the town when it was first founded by the Navigators. There are a smattering of lights on in the houses and buildings that aren't the adventure, like the Guild Hall, which is already lit up like a lighthouse. Pretty much every window has a light in it. You can see shadows moving amongst the windows, some quickly, some slowly. You can see people coming in and out quite regularly.
Do we push through into the daytime by now? Is it still night?
It's just about starting to, like, day is breaking, so you are just starting to get into daytime. Like, it's still pretty early morning.
This is a relief. We're so close.
At no point, Velspear, has the laughing stopped. Up to now.
To the back of my mind and pretend I doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not worried about it at all.
Once you get to the edge of the forest and step out from the trees, the laughing just die down into nothingness. And that sense of unease eventually does lift from your chest.
Wow. It's gone.
Yeah, we should probably tell them about that. There's something there lurking.
That doesn't seem safe or natural. That feels cursed in a way. And I don't know why.
Nothing that actually tried to hurt us, though, so maybe mischievous more than dangerous, but
Wow. It got close. It cut my rope.
yeah, if it can cut the rope, it could have attacked any one of us, really.
Maybe it was assessing us to see what our skills were.
Maybe.
Anyway, you're right. We definitely need to report this to the guild. Make sure they know.
We can wander into the town, I guess.
Okay. You wander back into the town, and there's a definite buzz about the few people that are in sort of already up and about in the town. And you soon get the impression that sometime overnight the Navigators have returned. Or at least some of the Navigators have returned. In the sort of 10 minutes or so from coming from the forest and sort of strolling through the centre of town, interacting with a few of the people, sort of asking what's going on, that sort of thing, the sun has started rising and is now kind of illuminating the town properly, and seems to, it basically indicates the start of the day. This is when people start leaving their houses to go to what jobs they have. It's when construction work starts up again properly, that sort of thing. And the town starts to liven up with the sound of daytime. And as you step into the guild hall again, it seems that the Goliath that you met previously has been alerted to your return and is waiting for you. Sort of sat quietly on his stool. Lyra follows you in, quite confident, and sort of stands on the stool at the table and just proudly announces, "We did it. We got all your things. You can pay us now."
Aras will put the bag down and carefully get the thing out and say it's wrapped up in the vestments, but I think Aurelia might want the vestments back if we can get them back to him. And here's all the other mushrooms and fruit and the willow leaf or whatever it was.
You can see...
Oh.
Carry on.
I was gonna, just as he's finished and you've actually started talking, Vesper's like, oh, almost forgot. We got this for the Navigators, whether or not they want it or not. A pet griffin? I don't know. It's still in egg form. Don't know how that works. Put the egg down on the table.
Okay. You can see that... You can 100% tell that the Goliath was woken up earlier than he would have liked. His eyes are barely awake. Now that you're sort of paying attention to him more, his body is sort of lolling about a little bit. He pulls himself up on his seat, and the reinforcements of it sort of creak slightly. Well, it's good that you're back. I thank you for your swift service. You look exhausted. As for payment, that will be arranged in due course, and I'm sure the Navigators will be thrilled to have the gift presented to them forthwith. For now, Unless there is anything else, you may go and take a room and rest for a while.
Actually, there is. We, going through the forest, come across these openings that seem to... They kind of repeated themselves as though they all weren't the same. And in doing so, I at first heard what I could only describe as laughter. And on the way back from collecting the green, Tudro and Ashura also heard the laughter, but report seeing an old woman out in the distance that seemed to just disappear. And it stayed with us until we actually left the edge of the forest.
That's unsettling to hear.
It was unsettling to feel.
Thank you for your swift return and your report of this. I will inform the relevant parties and have them send someone to deal with them. For now, all we can do is rest, and I will make sure that you are paid sometime today for your service.
Thank you.
If that is all, you may go. And he stands slowly, like sort of really kind of labouring the point of just sort of standing, and stretches and gives a big yawn and kind of, looks at you expectantly to leave.
Yeah, I go to a room and just, well, both mine are separate rooms and just crash somewhere.
Okay. Cool.
Your girl spends the day in the garden helping out with all that.
Nice.
Yeah, Vespa goes to her room as well.
Cool. Awesome. And with that, we will end the session there for today. Good job, guys. Didn't die. That's the main thing.
Yay!
That was a good session. It's
Yeah,
unusual.
Unusual.
Mystery.
It was a great session.
Mystery.
We have the return of Mavamwe. No.
Yeah, so we'll see. Who knows? Right, next week there will be something. Not sure what yet. There was supposed to be something, but also not sure about something. So I'm going to find out and see. There will be a stream next week, potentially a game next week. Fingers crossed for a game next week. Otherwise, I'll stream something. We'll see. I'm excited to see what happens next with these characters. I feel like we could do something else with them. It's quite a nice, simple thing to do, I think. And yeah, if you need to catch up on the Navigators stuff, there's videos on YouTube. You should go and check them out, and then you should subscribe to the YouTube channel, and comment on the YouTube videos and like the YouTube videos. Make me feel good about things. And yeah, we'll see you next week. I haven't looked for. I'm not gonna raid anyone. Yathina's not here. I don't have the energy. So yeah, we're just gonna end there. Goodbye, everyone. We appreciate you, and we'll see you next week.